DJ Russie B. Not going to catch on, is it? Anyway, hope Russell West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. Happy Saturday. I hope the weekend hasn't been ruined just yet. Wait till 5:30 until we kick off against Newcastle United at St James's Park. Safe travels to people already up there. Bit of a schlep, not just getting there, but actually getting to your seat as well. Walk with a limp, then you might be able to use the lift. My little trick there. As we always do, sort of a few hours before kickoff, we put together our predicted 11s, and also you do your predicted 11s, the West Ham Network community. If you want to be involved with the Chelsea game in terms of picking your side, all you got to do is quite simply subscribe. That's what you got to do. Hit the bell down there. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps us out a bunch as well. So if you can, it'd be really, really good. We're back down from about 50% to about 45% of you aren't subscribers. So we're getting there slowly but surely. Baby steps. So anyway, we're going to go through the side. In terms of my predicted 11, now obviously this is based on listening to Moyes' press conference where basically he sort of said Skarmaka's out, Zuma's out, Cornet's out. With Cornet, he's about 60%. Skarmaka, I think he'll be back for the Chelsea game. The one surprise was Danny Ings. He said Danny Ings is could be available. But for me, that means he'll probably be in the squad on the bench rather than necessarily starting. So let's crack on. Let's have a look at this side. So what we're going to do is I've gone with the three at the back as well. And look, this is my 11. The 11 I probably want to see based on the players who we have who are available. But please let me know in the comments who you'd put. Let's go this way. Can I go this way? No, this way. That's it. That's better. So please put in the comments your 11 as well. And again, we'll show the West Ham Network community starting 11 as well, so they get an idea. So in goal for me, it's Mr. Fabianski. He'll be in goal without a shadow of a doubt. Out of a shadow of a doubt. Obviously, we played Derby the other week. In midweek, and Areola was in goal, did very well. But Fabianski, if you like it or lump it, there's nothing to do about it. At the moment, he is our Premier League goalkeeper. And imagine Areola will be back in goal. We play Man United in a few weeks' time. And then a couple of weeks' time from that, we start Europa League, Conference League again. I think it's the 9th and the 16th of March. The home leg is the 16th. And the away leg will be the 9th because we won the group. And I think that'll be drawn in a couple of weeks' time, I think. So he's in. Now I've gone for back three. I think Moyes is going to stick with this back three until everyone is fit. And then we could well see a movement back to the back four. He's said about Naif Figuered particularly that he is someone who is adept to play at a 3 or a 4. And I think actually his preference is probably a 4 because I think you lose that extra midfielder. So for me, I think in terms of who starts, the starting centre backs, I think on the left hand side you'll see Naif Figuered. I think he'll be there, and I think he'll be followed by Angelo Bonner. And for me on the right hand side, I think he'll go with Tilo Kehrer as the 3. So that'll be the 3. I think that's the 3 he played against. Is that the 3 he played against Derby? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is. We haven't got any centre backs apart from that, is it? Craig Dawson's gone, and Zuma's injured, and Luis Al's in the under 21. So yeah, so I think that's the back 3. The rest of the back 5 for me. I think you're going to have Vladimir. I think you have Emerson on the left. I think he's really in the last few games really warmed into this side now. I thought he was really good in the last couple of games, the Everton game and also the Derby game. He was really strong, I thought, coming forward quite a lot as well. The only thing is, when you think about Newcastle on the right-hand side, they'll have Trippier. And probably they bought a right-back at the weekend, in the week, I think. I can't remember his name, Harrison something. But I imagine he'll be on the bench as well. But Kieran Trippier obviously bombing forward, and I think Emerson will be trying to bomb forward as well. So hopefully there'll be a battle there between them two. It'll be really interesting, I think. More so than the battle on the other side, because if they go with what they've done previously, they had Dan Burn on playing left back, and the richest club in the world, and they didn't buy a left back in January, which is a bit surprising in my opinion. But anyway, so on the right hand side of the right wing back, I think obviously Ben Johnson played quite well against derby. I think Vladimir played that position, played very well as well against Everton. I think it's going to be Vlad's shirt for the time being. I think Vladimir will be playing right wing back, just give it that defensive solidness, particularly maybe if Anthony Gordon ends up playing, because obviously we don't need to talk about Bruno. No, because he's suspended for the game and for the next 2 games after the West Ham game. So for me, sorry, I can't catch my breath. I do apologise. So for me, I think he'll be coming on there just to have a bit of defensive reassurance. He doesn't tend to get skinned by anyone really, and you got to think they've got some fast players. They've got Joe Linton as well. You know, they've got Willock, got some good players there, and I think he would. I don't think there's as much threat from Newcastle on the left hand side as there is on the right hand side for them, particularly from sort of fullback upwards, in my humble opinion. But go back and listen. We had Kendall on Thursday night. She's a Newcastle fan. She's brilliant, really, really insightful, really level-headed insightfulness. You know, in terms of they know they're doing well, but she wasn't going like too far. And I quite appreciated that, because we were the same when we were in sort of these positions, going, "Oh, do you know what? The wheels are gonna come off sometime," and they did for us, and maybe they won't for Newcastle, but who knows? You know, they still have a lot of injuries and obviously suspensions. I think they've got 5 players out. Also, you've got Almer on as well, and he drifts, doesn't he, from wing to wing? So that's someone you need to keep an eye on, and maybe Aged is the man to keep an eye on him. Although the last couple of games he hasn't really hit form, but neither's Callum Wilson. And welcome to West Ham. So we can imagine Callum Wilson will probably score tomorrow, because it's West Ham and he loves to go against West Ham, particularly against his podcast buddy as well. Now in the centres, I think it goes without saying Declan Rice will be playing. You know, there was I remember reading a discussion once about, and he must have come from a Newcastle fan, saying that Sean Longstaff was better than Declan Rice. Yeah, whatever. And actually, I think Bruno not being in the middle gives us a huge advantage in that midfield space, because he's been on fire this season, and particularly against his Brazilian buddy Paqueta, he's not going to be there. So that's a huge plus for us, really, which we should really exploit, I'd say. And I think we may, in terms of my selection, and this is not necessarily this probably the 11. This is the 11 I would like, and kind of I think Moyes may allude to, because part of the reason is, for me, we need to overpack that midfield, because they tend to play a 4-3-3, and we really need to sort of pack that field up a little bit, in my opinion. But then what do I know? I'm just a fat bloke talking in front of a webcam Saturday morning. So there we go. In all honesty, let's be honest, that's what it is, isn't it? In terms of who he partners in that sort of 2, I've put Flynn Downs, and the reason I've put Flynn Downs is I had originally put sort of Paqueta and Souček, and again, this 3 of Rice, Downs, and the third person is I'd changed my opinion. I'd had Souček instead of Downs in that 3. And then randomly, he was asked a few questions about Flynn. He said one of his questions. Let me get it up full screen. There we go. One of his questions about Downs. I think Downs has come on. He's played really well against Liverpool and Newcastle, Liverpool, Man United. He's improving, and hopefully he goes on to be a good player. So I was thinking, maybe old Flynn might come in there. Who knows? So I thought I'd put him in. And the chances are, and also this would probably change if he decides to go with Ings to start with, which I don't think he will. Then obviously you need some physicality more up front, and then Souček would come in and play almost like as a 10. He's been doing that recently, and Downs has been playing as a 10 as well. But I think Downs, he had a really good showing. When he came on the Everton game, particularly, he played well. Derby, he played well when he was on the ball. I know some people say he's a backward pass merchant, but actually he maintains the ball, and there's a reason why he's got the highest last season at the highest pass completion rate of any English player in the top 5 leagues in England, because he plays it. He he plays it simple. And actually, sometimes with the likes of Paqueta, with the likes of Ben Rama, with the likes of, a Cornet and, quite flamboyant players, you need a player, I think, who can just put his foot on the ball and be assured that you're going to get it back. And that's what Flynn does. And eventually I see him developing, obviously, if Mr. Rice goes in the summer, if or when he goes in the summer. For me, Flynn comes in and plays that role that Declan Rice plays now. That sort of holding role and can just the quarterback role almost. Yeah. Lots of things start from Declan Rice. And I think him and Flynn, particularly away from home, I can see them two quite playing nicely as almost like as a pivot, as a two-man pivot. Appreciate it's quite defensive, but then I think needs must now. For me, it's not about performances; it's about getting points on the board. That's what we need. We need points. Now, in terms of who we play a more attacking role, Paqueta's there, and again, these three would move around, or probably Downs and Paqueta would move around. If it's Souček, same thing happens. And though Souček tends to play a bit more offensively, sort of helping out the striker a little bit with knockdowns, having a bit of physical presence. In terms of Newcastle, they're big boys. Sven Botman's a big lad. Dan Burn's a big lad. Shah's a big lad as well. So, Trippier not so much. So, but the three of them, Burn against who are put on the right hand side, I think it's gonna be quite interesting. You won't be hoofing up balls to that person. You're playing on the floor and making him turn because Burn's a big lad. If he's playing left back as well, we need to really, really go for him because I think that could be a weakness based on who we put in that position. And that person is, for me, Jared Bowen. I mean, there's certain positions here which are nailed on. There's a couple which could be contentious. Maybe the Downs one is contentious. Maybe the Soufal, Ben Johnson debate. But at the moment, that's what we've got, to be fair. And then up front, because he's our only fit senior striker, Mikel Antonio. I haven't looked actually yesterday what happened with the West Ham against Monaco under 23s. I didn't notice that one, but it was. Are they playing? They haven't played. No, the under 18s. The one was it 4-1 or 5-1, something like that. I think Mbama scored a couple. They were away at Stoke, so I think did Obama play in that game? Yeah, I think he did. So for me, I would, and I think Ollie Scars maybe played that game as well. Leave them up there. They're halfway up to Newcastle already, innit? I'd drive them straight up there and put Mbama on the bench, and maybe Ollie on the bench, and obviously Danny Ings on the bench as well. Danny Ings on the bench makes a massive difference. I think that's the role he's going to be taking, to be honest. So that's my starting 11. I've gone Fabianski, back three of Aged, Ogbonna, Kiera. Wing backs of Emerson and Soufal, the two in midfield, sort of two holding midfielders. I've gone for Rice and Downs. I've pushed Lucas a little bit higher up. I just think sometimes we miss out on his creativity a bit higher up the pitch. He doesn't need to do what he's doing at the moment because we've got enough people to cover that position. And then Bowen on the other side. Well, it's not really. It's not even that formation, is it? It tends to be three in the middle. It'd be Downs, Rice, Paqueta, and the three of them. One more slightly more advanced, and then Bowen Antonio basically seem to almost change. Whether sometimes Antonio drifts out to the wing, sometimes Bowen goes up front, sometimes Bowen drops and plays a 10, and Emerson pushes forward a lot more as well. And you almost go to a back four, really, with Soufal dropping in. So, look, it's going to be a bloody tough game. We know it's going to be a bloody tough game. We know Newcastle are, well, they're riding high in the league at the moment. Obviously, they're through to the Carabao Cup final, so they'll be buzzing. Their fans are going to be absolutely buzzing for that. And so, it's going to be a tough game, first game back since that's happened, and we've got to challenge that. We've got to go to that as a challenge. I genuinely fancy us. And I haven't been particularly positive recently in terms of results. I thought we'd get a draw at Derby. I thought we'd be, I thought we was going to nick something at Everton, to be honest. But I think with Newcastle, I think they're having a bit of a dip at the moment. You can bet your house that Callum Wilson's going to score against us. Bet your house that Callum Wilson's going to score against us. No trouble at all. But both defenses are reasonably strong, so it's not that. It's whoever gets the odd goal, and I think it will go down to an odd goal. I'd love to nick it, and the fact is, Bowen's been scoring. Antonio themselves, that little duo has been playing quite well the last couple of games. So it's about momentum. And, as long as we come out of this game and we've got something, we go into the Chelsea game with sort of a bit of momentum. That's what it is now. It's about momentum. It's not about, for me, about the performance now. It could be, the game's going to be as dull as dishwater, but we need points. We need points. We need to stay up. We need to stay up, and we need points. And a couple of and the teams that start putting 2 or 3 wins together, the team that basically going to stay up. And that's basically what's happening. The league is so tight that's how it's going to happen, in my humble opinion. But you may disagree. I think it's all doom and gloom already. It's not that yet. We've still got plenty of games to go. Although Moisey called it the business end of the season, but I think we're not. The business end's like the last third. I'd say we're not quite in the last third yet from Moisey. But anyway. Let's see what your 11 did. So, as I said, everyone who's a West Ham subscriber gets access to the community tab, and we put posts up and we put polls up, and like during the week, and you can pick the formations, you can pick who's in goal, all the different positions, and then we sort of mix and match and see how yours turned out to compare to ours. So, let's see what your one was like. And 50p for the person who spots the mistake. It was Fabianski who was going to be in goal, not Areola. That was obviously someone made the mistake from the Derby game, to be honest, and hadn't changed it and thought about it. It was too early. It's Saturday morning. My eyes are barely opened. I'm knackered. But yeah, so pretty much the same. The only exception being Downs for Souček, really. So we're usually not too bad. There's usually 1 or 2 players but I don't think there is at the moment. I don't think there is. Go back and look at the press conference. Moisey says that basically Skamaka's not playing. Suma's out. Cornet's out. Danny Ings could be available. In terms of Cornet, 60 to 70% fit at the moment. So the chances are I reckon he'll be on the bench for the Chelsea game. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, we'll have the Watch It On coming up. It's probably about 4:45, something like that, 5 o'clock UK time. So please join us for that. We'll have the highlight show afterwards. We'll have the final word. We'll have 5 things we've learned. We'll do the ratings on Monday as well, and all that jazz. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends. Let me know in the comments section what your starting 11 would be. And don't forget to give it a cheeky like. It really helps us out and really, really appreciate it. And that's it, my friends. Take care, stay safe. Bye.